Hey guys, today on the corner I am going to show you a neat little trick that you can do with your hot end to print higher temperatures. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so this is my spare hot end from my Tronxy XY2 Pro, and this is a PTF tube, PTFE tube, PTFE tube. Let's not forget the E. But anyways, so this is your hot end. This is your coupler. This is your heat sink. I guess this would be your throat. This is your heating block, and this is your nozzle. And what happens is, with these are lined with your PTFE tube. You push it all the way down. This goes to your extruder, and it extrudes filament through the tube into the heat sink, down the throat, warms up, and then extrudes out the nozzle. Alright, so this is aligned with PTFE. I think the max temp, if I'm not wrong, is about 240. With anything above 240, the PTFE tube starts to degrade, and you also can get some noxious chemicals as well. So I'm going to show you what I do in order to get higher heat. Now, you might say put a Capricorn tube in. Well, you're right. This is a piece of Capricorn tubing. Alright, so if you were to use this, push it all the way into your hot end, yes, you could print at a higher temperature, up to 260. And you have this attached to your extruder. And the filament goes in, runs down the Capricorn tubing, through the heat sink, through the throat, warms up by the heat block here, and extrudes out the nozzle. But this will still erode a little bit over time. And then you're going to end up cutting down your Capricorn tube a little bit, and then running it for a little while longer, and cutting it down and running it. But eventually it's going to be a point where, because it's a Bowden system, you're going to have to adjust your retraction constantly, or adapt whatever, or it might just be too long or too short not to reach to the end of your carriage, right? All of a sudden you'll be like, I can't make it, right? So here's the trick I do. What I do is I will take a simple, you ready for this? Can you see that? An M3 nut. That's all I do. I take my M3 nut. I don't know if you can see that, if I can hold that up. Do I have a pair of tweezers? I believe I have a pair of tweezers. Excellent. Let me grab those, and then we can go like this. Aha! M3 nut. Right there. And what I do is you can either take a needle file and just get the threads off of it, or I just use a small drill. So it's relatively smooth through the M3 nut. And what I do is I take that Capricorn tubing, and what I do is I just cut a small section off of it. And what I want that small section to do is, when I take off the coupler, I just want to put that in just like that, so it lines up with the top of the throat. Right, like that. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Let's see here. And then all I'm going to do is take the M3 nut, right here, and just pop that on top and let that sit on top of there. And I'll take the coupler back, and I will just simply attach these two now. And that is it. Well, obviously you'll tighten it, right? Wrench. Give it a tighten. And now, what's going to happen is, let me grab a piece of filament here. So your filament's going to go through. Alright? It's going to go all the way through, but that's where your Capricorn tubing is. It's kind of like the MK3s, where they have the little piece of PTFE tube in the direct drives. Not the same, obviously. This isn't an MK3, but Same sort of concept. You're going to have that little piece of Capricorn tubing in there. So what's going to happen is eventually that will wear out, but then you'll just replace it with another piece of Capricorn tubing. But what the good part about this is, you're going to take your Bowden tube. You won't never have to trim this, okay? This will always be okay, so you'll be able to get right to the end of your carriage. You won't have to clip off a piece every time it degrades or whatever. Plus, you also get the extra 20 centigrade out of it. Alright, so now with the piece of Capricorn tubing in here, you can print up to 260, so that opens up a couple other materials for you. Alright, piece of cake, right? So really easy. Literally all I do is, now you see I have to untie this, right? So I just use a simple M3 net that I just put a needle file or a drill through just to remove the threads, and I just drop it right on top of the throat there. So it's just enough. It will hold that piece of Capricorn tubing in, and you'll still be able to feed your filament through it. And that is all there is to it. I think I was reading a thread on the Ender 3s, and there's a guy in there who had printed out just a little adapter that sat inside of here that would hold the PTF tube down, so just so you wouldn't have to change it. And I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. And I'm like, but I have M3 screws sitting right here, so I just dropped the nut in there, and lo and behold, it worked. So I'm like, problem solved. I don't have to print anything. I know, it's a 3D printing video about not printing something, right? Brilliant. But yeah, so that's a quick little tip for you on how to get a couple extra degrees out of your hot end, as well as not having to cut your Bowden tube every single time that it degrades in the hot end. You can just leave a little piece in there and just replace that. Easy, right? Alright, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. If this tip helped you, let me know. If you know of a better way or an easier solution, leave it in the comments. Alright, until next time, peace out.